Yo, 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 what up, everybody? It is time again for the In Off the Bench podcast. I am your host, Daniel Ball, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, my partner in crime, my brother from another mother, Jim Cross. Jim, we got another good one tonight. We're talking United Grid League, Tampa Bay Brigade. We got the owner, we got the coach, we got the player, we got the person who does basically everything for the Tampa Bay Brigade, Jess Krezmien. We also have the interim head coach, a guy who has been in the grid for a very long time, a personal friend of mine, Tomas Pessenda. We're going to get their story. We're going to get the tea. We're going to sip it. We're going to spill it. We're going to drink it. We're going to get it all from those guys. But first, Jim, we got some business to attend to before we get going. It's the holiday season, man. And I know you, Jim. I know that you've got some gifts to give and get. So if you're looking for something for that special someone, or you just need some stocking stuffers, or mom needs a quick little gift, dad needs a quick little gift, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, you name it. Check out our sponsor, Chinook Seedery. Whether you're on the field or in the boardroom signing deals, Chinook helps you get the job done. Memphis City Designs, get brands, gear, logos on everything from shoes to underoos. You can also get your in off the bench gear while supplies last. It's going hot, flying off the shelf. So get it now, or you might not have a chance to get it. Relief Chiropractic. Go see my boy, Dr. Vic Robinson. He is rejuvenating people, adding years to folks' life. He's got the magic hands. And I promise you, go see Dr. Vic. You will not be disappointed. And finally, Old Dominick Distillery. Experience 150 years of tradition in the heart of downtown Memphis. From bourbon to vodka, whiskey to gin. Old Dominick's got you covered. I know y'all got them holiday parties coming up. You better not come empty-handed. Stop by Old Dominick's, go online, order a few bottles, take them with you. Everybody will have a good time. And with that, Jim, the business has been attended to. The bills have been paid, and it is time to get this thing going. So help me welcome on to the show with the biggest interview in podcasting this week, the Tampa Bay Brigades. Jess Krezmien, Tomas Pessenda. Welcome, 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 friends. How are we doing tonight?
Hello. Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, I was off air. I was talking to Tomas. It's been a while since, I've seen his face. He's still looking good, still looking youthful. He's still got it. Jess, you haven't run him ragged yet. He said he's still good. He's still good. So with that, I'll let Jim, get you guys going and get into this. But I appreciate you guys joining us to talk all things Tampa Bay Brigade, baby.
I hear a little one. I know I heard a little one.
It ain't mine.
That was
a cat.
It was a cat.
We already got kids coming into the show this early. Well, perfect segue, Jess, because Daniel was telling me how everything has worked with the brigade, and obviously you having a child. So how's life treating you? Are you back working out, or is mom life got you completely covered up?
I gave it about 2 weeks, and then I said I'm going back to the gym for my mental health and the safety of my husband. So
I can understand that all too well. But let's get into y'all's story. Sticking with you, Jess, where are you from?
Buffalo, New York.
Ooh, all right. Are you a Buffalo Bills fan?
Obviously.
Yes. Go Bills.
Well, I mean,
I left it in there. Hence the hashtag there.
you could say it's obvious, but you might have in the 90s when they lost 4 straight Super Bowls kicked the tires on them. I don't know. I gotta ask.
I mean, I was 5. Hopefully I didn't it didn't scare me too much back then. More so now I feel it. But
I mean, it's a lot what can happen when you're that age, because Daniel was just over 5 and he was a Cowboys fan because they won a bunch, and now because he decided to take on that misery, he hasn't known what winning's been like since.
Hey, don't ruin my high from yesterday. Look, man, we tried to give a game away and we figured out a way to win. I'm gonna take it. I've been riding really good today, so don't get my vibe down.
The Tigers won too, so you'll be all right. Tomas, where are you from?
Originally, I'm actually from New York too, Long Island.
Oh, okay. We got some Yanks on this show, Daniel. We don't do that too often. We try to stick to the South, but you know what? It'll be all right. Like you said, we're going to sip on tea, sweet tea, because I know y'all don't do that up there. But, y'all are from New York. Let's talk family dynamics. Just for you, what's, obviously just had a baby. You talk about your husband. Is it just them two, or is there more to it?
We have a cat named Dave.
Dave.
That's it.
I'm a cat person, so I'm cool. Dave can be my people, but
I mean, he's a dick, but we love him.
they all are though. But you know what? I will take the bad with the good with cats. It seems like my dogs, when they do something, is a lot more monumental and causes problems. So give me the cat all day.
Yeah.
What about you, Tomas? What's the family life like?
So met the wife at a CrossFit gym, actually that DB and I used to go to, 813. So it's the two of us. And then we have two little animals, a dog and a cat, no kids.
Gotcha. So I get fascinated, seeing these workouts, seeing these competitions, finding out, what kind of athletes that we have, because everybody has some sort of athletic background of some sort. So for you, Jess, what were sports like growing up? Did you play multiple different sports? One singular sport? What was it for you?
Mainly soccer. Since I was like 5, I tried t-ball when I was 4, but I got bored, so I switched that. Played soccer probably for about 30 years or so. Ran track in high school with soccer, and then accidentally got into rugby in college. That was pretty sweet. And then, after that, needed something to kind of get my competitive juices going. I felt like I was just kind of lost after college, and that's when I accidentally found CrossFit through like a Groupon or something. I was like, I'll never do that. I know what I'm doing. I've worked out my whole life. And then I tried it once, and I was like, all right, I'm in.
Well, I mean, I believe in you being a gamer just by telling me you play rugby. Nobody plays rugby unless they're down.
It's a good time, dude. It's funny because like in soccer, I played mostly defense, so I never got to score. So when I played rugby, there's like pack in the back. The back are the ones that usually run and score. So I got to be in that like position, and I got to run and score all the tries. It was awesome. I was like, I never get to score in soccer, so it was a nice little dynamic. So yeah, those are good times.
My daughter was a soccer player, and she played defense and on a high caliber level, and I know that it's very physical. So it kind of tells me why you might have worked out well to rugby, because I tell people all the time, men's soccer and women's soccer is not the same at all. The physicality level of women's soccer is way better. Like girls don't give a damn, for lack of a better way to put it. Like whereas like men, do all the rolling and stuff, and it's a whole thing. So I can see where that transition might happen if you were a defensive player on the soccer field. But what about you, Tomas?
It's funny. Jess and I are pretty similar. I grew up playing soccer. My dad is Brazilian, so grew up watching it.
So you were the one rolling around on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you said that, it hit home for sure. But it's funny. I can't stand watching men's soccer now.
So it's rough.
It's awful. All they do is lay on the ground. Yeah, they have more.
Well, Daniel can't stand watching soccer, period, because he doesn't believe in watching anything that can end in a tie.
God, how can you be some of the best athletes on the planet? All right, they can run for the way they do and sprint the way they do and do the things that they do, but yet they're okay with it ending in a tie. Like, I would rather lose than tie. I really would.
He's been very adamant. He's not a big soccer fan, but I did get him. Our star soccer player in Memphis was playing in the tournament down in Tampa, and he went over there and checked out a college soccer game. So he can at least say there's that one time he went.
And they won, and it didn't end in a tie. if it did, it would have been my only chance. So good thing they picked up the W.
So Tomas just talked about how she ended up which is funny story, just how she ended up doing CrossFit. How did you end up doing CrossFit?
Yeah, so similar actually, which is funny. In college, never really got into it. Just did the Globo gym stuff. Went to Florida State. We had a gym on campus, and it was just go there with some guys and do back buys, chest tries, always skip leg day, and that type of guy. and that has made me suffer in CrossFit now, always skipping leg day. But after school, a friend of mine got into it, and I was still doing the Globo gym thing. And he said, hey, I'll come to your gym and we'll try a workout. And we did this workout. I'll never forget it. It was called Feezy. And it was a hero workout that I had no business doing. And we were on the rig in LA Fitness and flailing around. People probably thought we were crazy. But it was the worst, coolest experience I ever had. And then that next week, a Groupon tried CrossFit, and the rest is history. Yeah,
I'll
and
tell
that
you,
was
I
2011.
understand that worst, best experience. That's how every workout I have with Daniel in his hot garage in the summer in Florida when I go visit is. It's very fulfilling, but man, in the meantime, in the real time, I want to fight him the whole time because I feel like he's pushing me unnecessarily hard.
That's me every day. That's it. It's not because you're there that I'm pushing you.
I've been spoiled to work. I've been spoiled to work out in the air conditioning. I don't do sets between sets. I skip leg day a lot. And here I go up there or go down there, and no, it's hot out there. You're sweating before you start. You don't get to take breaks between sets. It's nonstop. Oh, hey, just do this bike. Hey, just do push-ups, and then hey, wear this vest. And it's like, bro, like I'm on vacation.
But did you die?
I didn't die. And I tell you, the leg day has came back around because 2 weeks ago I tore my pectoral muscle. So now I'm doing legs twice a week because I can't do anything else. So I'm gonna get all those leg days back in.
Yeah, not doing CrossFit, by the way. He tore a pec, so there's that.
It was actually on Veterans Day. I normally don't do, as I was just talking about, sets between sets. And I was doing 22 kill push-ups between my bench sets. And that was the only thing that was different than any other normal day. And sure enough, when I was coming down with it on the 5th rep of a set, it just tore.
I'll give you the true story. All right. It was Veterans Day, and he was feeling himself. And he was feeling strong, and he was looking strong. And he said, you know what? I'm going to throw some push-ups in here and really, really get this pump on. And he threw what'd you have on the bar? Like
315.
315, and just crushing it. But hey, shit happens, man.
Crushing for real.
Yeah. He showed me the video. I thought he died. It's like what you would see.
My arm went limp, so it really doesn't give me much. And I didn't have a spotter because I usually don't need one, which was his first problem. The first thing he says in the video is, "Where's your spotter?" And so yeah, I just had to wiggle that thing off.
And he had Spaghetti Joe come over there and try to lift the bar up off of him.
He was the closest. Hey, you know what? Good Samaritan, man. He ran over there as fast as he could.
Good for him. But let's get into some grid. Obviously, grid has had this evolution, from MPGL to Florida Grid League to United Grid League. And, I think we're pretty set on United Grid League and where it's going and staying solid with that. But Jess, I'll get your perspective first. You've been a veteran of grid. You've been in it for a while as a player and now as a coach and an owner. Where did you find grid? And was it in the early days of MPGL, or was it in the Florida Grid League, or where was it that you picked up grid?
So I saw the NPGL on TV one day, and I remember I was just in my living room, and I'm like, I clicked onto ESPN or something, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And I was just watching it in awe, and I kind of I don't know, I left in the house or whatever, and I didn't think anything of it. And then I want to say the next year in the summer, I used to be a high school teacher, and in the summers I had off. So I went to my friend's gym because I was, it was cool doing 2-a-days, and I just wanted her to kick my ass. So I go there, and this guy named Chris is there, and we do like a team workout or whatever. He looks at me, he's like, you need to come to this combine. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, come to this combine for grid. It'll be great. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he showed me what it was. I was like, that's that shit I saw on TV. I can't do that. Like, I'm not going to this thing. Like, there's no way. Sorry. He's like, just come. And I'm like, oh my God. So it literally went to the day of, and I'm like, I can't go to okay, I'll just go. And I ended up going, loving it. He already kind of knew who he wanted on the team. And he already kind of figured all right, if this chick is halfway decent, and I made it, and it was the coolest thing ever. And that was 2017. And I've been doing it ever since. So,
wow, you are an OG of grid.
Yeah, I figured out the other day. I was looking at our team photo. I'm the only one left out of everyone. The only one left on the Tampa Bay Brigade. We've just kind of evolved and lost some people, gained some people, whatever. And now that our head coach left, I'm just the last one standing.
You're like when you go back and look at high school yearbooks, and you're like, that teacher's still there.
I'm the herpes of grid. I just won't go away. Yeah.
Tomas, you have a kind of interesting story of how you got into grid. How did you find it?
Yeah, I had seen it on TV also. I remember seeing the NPGL. I am not at the caliber of athlete that Jess or some of the other folks are on the team or in the grid league.
None of us are, I don't think.
What's that?
None of us are, I don't think.
You can do some pretty good pistols, Tomas. Like, come on.
I can hold my own in certain things. Yeah, but overall, not even close. Not even in the same realm. It's a different league. But yeah, I just got into it via Mather, who was the head of the grid league. And so I just went to one of the practices. Like, they were hosting a practice at it was at Berg, I think, CrossFit Berg. And so I just went, and he's like, yeah, we're looking for some local people to be judges in this thing. And I was coaching. I judged some other stuff, judged some CrossFit stuff, and started coaching literally that first year, that same year, 2017, and was a judge and then a head ref on the grid.
Nice. So you're the guy that people get mad at?
It's funny, yeah.
Jess
has some pictures of her doing reps and me judging her.
And I swear to God, I see those pictures and I'm like, I didn't even know you were standing there. Like, oh my God, Moss was my judge. I didn't even know. Like, I didn't even. You see nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, there have been some times for sure having to fault some people, and they get pretty upset, pretty heated. And now being on this side, I understand why. So I don't take offense to it.
Hey, it's part of it. I mean, in the moment, every athlete is like, that's a rep, bro. I didn't fault. What are you talking about? But I'm sure 99% of them, if they go back and look at it again, they'll be like, oh, my bad. You're right.
Yeah, it's funny. They're trying to go so fast. That's the whole idea of the sport, is it's a race. And you're trying to beat the other team, and sometimes it's seconds will literally win a race. In a 2-minute race, you'll get 157, they get 2 minutes, and you win. So literally every second counts. And yeah, when you're trying to go that fast, it's going to flirt the line a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Jess, obviously the MPGL, I mean, the best way I could say is it failed as a business. Now that it's evolved to what it is, are you confident in where the league stands, or is there still like some proving ground that the league has to go through before you're like, all right, yeah, we're ready?
I mean, I think it was obviously much smaller in 2017. And when 2020 happened, this weird like shift started happening, and their social media just exploded. I mean, they have millions of, I see like all the analytics, like being on this side of things, and there's just like millions of eyeballs on it all the time. So while it's not as big as I think it's going to get, it has been like growing exponentially throughout the years. And even now with getting exposure through different podcasts, even people in the CrossFit space now reaching out or like starting to figure out like, all right, what is this grid thing? And it's continuously growing every year. And I think we have some really cool long-term plans with the league it's only going to get bigger. So it's really exciting to see kind of where it's going to go in the next 5 years or so.
Tomas, being someone who's, like in the off the grid, not really off the grid, but you're not a player, but so you've been a player and then the coach, you've been able to see it from two different lenses. Where do you think the direction of the league is going? Like, if you were to look at a 3 to 5 year plan, like where do you see the league in 5 years?
So I will say, started the same year as Jess, 2017, and having been on that side and saw how like the organization of it and the way and the communication and the standards, everything written out, and seeing all of that now, only 7 years. I mean, it's still a super young sport, but only 7 years later, the professionalism is way above and beyond what it was in 2017. The communication, the organization, the layout, everything is moving into a more professional sports dynamic, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we started in like Berg, that tiny spot section of the gym, and this year we went to Vegas for Mr. Olympia. Like it's a huge difference. I see some of the old videos and I'm like, oh my God, what were we doing?
Well, just the production alone. I mean, from everything from the way that the match flows, and I say flows like what I see on a stream on video. Like you can see everything. You have multiple camera angles. You can stop. You can go back and review certain things. There's commentary. There's a scoreboard. There's live reps. Like you can see all of that, and that's been a progression from the early days that have kind of evolved into what it is. I mean, I couldn't be more happy with the growth over, like you said, it's almost exponential growth over the past few years.
Yes, 7 years ago, everything you just said didn't exist. Live stream commentary, rep counting, multiple angles, video reviews were, I don't even know what we did for video reviews in 2017. It was someone with an iPhone or something.
Like, look, I have it. Look.
Where it was like, no, I think I was right. Yeah. No, look at my stopwatch. Yeah. So yeah, just the professionalism has gone a long way. And that's what Mather always says too, is we want to be a professional sport. Modeling it, he talks a lot about football and how they run things and the organization of it, and just mimicking that, I think, has also progressed to where now people see it and they don't just look at it from even the NPGL days and go, what the fuck are they doing? I have no idea. Now they can actually follow it.
Right.
Daniel, I got a side note as they brought up things that didn't exist before and Mr. Olympia. I seen a thing the other day. Arnold Schwarzenegger was in a time where there was no social media and managed to mass. This is how, I mean, he was a worldwide phenomenon, icon, and he did it in a day and age where they didn't have social media. Is he like the greatest of all time?
I don't know. Ronnie Coleman's got a lot. Ronnie Coleman's won a lot, man. But I mean, as far as putting it on the map, maybe like giving it like the platform that it has now and making it be such a big deal, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, having him be an ambassador of Mr. Olympia is definitely a huge caveat for them.
No doubt. So, thinking it, good segue, thinking about how he went from Journey to, his Mr. Olympia to being, in politics, Jess, let's talk about it. You go from a player all the way to ownership, but, you started, and if I've seen this right, have you been with Tampa Bay the entire time?
Yep.
You love Tampa Bay like Daniel loves Tampa Bay?
The Brigade, yes. The Bucks, I don't care.
Well, no, I didn't actually. I meant the city.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no snow here, so that makes me happy. Yeah. It's
yeah, he don't even like the Bucks. That's not what I meant. No, he will not. I've tried to plead to get him to move back, and he won't leave Florida ever again for the reason you just said, the weather.
I mean, it's a lot more difficult these days.
Rough,
2 kids and a wife, man, and
I've thought about it. It's like because my parents just left. They visited to see the baby, and I'm like, what if we move? Like, are we ever gonna move back home? And he's just like, how? Like, I'm like, snow. You're right. Okay, never mind. I couldn't even imagine having a 2-month-old in snow and nope. I can't.
You woke up this morning and wore sweats, and you were like, it's not too bad out here, and you realize, if I was in Buffalo or in New York, I would be wearing sweats and I would still be cold. It just wouldn't be enough, So like now's like it's hard to argue with
right now. It feels great in Memphis. Come back.
No, because the way it feels here, this is why you move here, because the next 6 months are gonna be immaculate.
Well, taking it back to the grid. I don't care about where you live. No, Tomas. So you said you started in 2017 when Jess did. Were y'all, initially on the same team? Is that how y'all came to know each other, or when did how did that fall in for you?
Yeah, one of my best friends was on the Tampa Bay team, and a bunch of us went to the gym together. We met at CrossFit 813. He was the head coach. Him and I then owned a gym for a little while. Jess still coaches at that gym. So he was on the team. So I kind of rooted for the Brigade, even as a judge. I mean, call everything the way it is, but in the back of your mind, you're like, I wouldn't mind if they won. So yeah, always had an affinity. And I've been in Tampa for now probably 10 years or so. I'd have to do the math. So yeah, definitely always been a Tampa fan.
Tomas is the Pete Rose of grid.
That could be a good or bad thing.
I know which way we go with that.
So, Jess, summarizing, your playing time for the Brigade, what were you? Were you a utility player? Were you a specialist? What, races, big moments in your career? For me, who's not like Daniel and hasn't been a part of it, and for the listeners who maybe are just getting to know you, kind of summarize your career, what you did and some big things.
Yeah, so I'm a utility player. So there's 3 positions in grid if you don't know. There's strength specialists, body weight specialists. Those are like the ninja people that do all the crazy flip shit. And then the utility players who kind of do a little bit of everything. So I've been utility player from day one. And the beginning years were really interesting because like we got away with just being really good athletes, and we like technically wise, we won a lot. And it wasn't because we were the best team. It's just because like we didn't screw up at like little things. Now you can't get away with that as much. So like I was in every single race back in the day because you didn't really have a lot of depth on your team. We didn't have a lot of big teams. So I was in like literally every single race, which is ridiculous and exhausting. Now every team is so good, and we have a lot of really, really good players to where you don't need to be in every race anymore, which is kind of nice because I'm old. So I don't have to be in every single, because it's exhausting. But yeah, that progression alone has been really cool to see because, I mean, while everybody wants to be in every single race, the fact that you don't have to be, you get to be more like rested for the very specific races you need to be in, and you can rely on your teammates a lot more. But yeah, my whole career I've been a utility player. I don't know any, like, I can't think of any like really big thing. I mean, I'm usually the person that does like the burpees. And I try to do something new every year. So like I've tried some, like the last new thing I did was like the med ball muscle ups, or like be one of the first ones to do one of the movements unbroken, or find a new way to do a movement, like stuff like that. So each year I try to do, whether I tell people that or not, like that's something that just I internally try to do. And then I guess the biggest thing was I had a baby and I played pregnant and then had her and was like, hey, I'm here. So,
I mean, that Jim, if you go back and look, there are some people that want Jess not to be living right now.
Oh, and I knew it. I knew that was coming. I'm like, I can't wait to see how many people I piss off because it's going to happen. And I was very aware of that. Yeah.
How long? Like,
so hold on, Daniel, swing this around to our original grid show. And I got to ask what kind of player I'd like. And I said, the person that nobody else likes. Is she my girl?
Well, she was when she's out there performing and competing pregnant. Yeah, they were.
I like
your
the person
girl.
that pisses people off. So like that, bring it.
Yeah,
she was everyone. She was a lot of. I don't even know what to call these Karens, but they were not happy with her
bad.
out there doing it. How long did you were still working out? Like, well, like it seemed like you were like the day before you gave birth, you're still working out. But like, at what point did you say, all right, I'm going to not work out
on the
today?
way to the hospital giving birth? She said,
all right,
I
worked out up until the week. I mean, I went into labor on Sunday. I went to a concert in Orlando on Friday. I worked up until I was pregnant, and I would have still been working out on that Monday if I didn't give birth. So yeah.
She's got some funny videos on social media. I'll say that.
Daniel, I can relate. I've been working out pregnant myself. This is not a baby coming, but there's a stomach that resembles one. If
you want to see some more, I did Murph pregnant. That video, the things people said, I was just like, keep being mad because it's great. What?
With the vest.
Yeah, with the vest. They were not happy with me. Not happy. I don't know what they were more mad at, the butterfly pull-ups or me being pregnant and working out.
I'm just glad you were able to successfully have the baby and have no problems, because isn't it one of those things that's a risk factor for highly athletic women?
No, it made it easier. If I was just a piece of shit and did nothing, yeah. I mean, I get everybody's obviously different, but I mean, I literally went to the hospital, took a nap, and popped her out within 5 hours. And like, yeah, I don't want to say it wasn't hard because it hurt like a bitch, but you know what I mean? She just slid right out. It was nice.
Unfortunately, the three of us don't know what you mean.
Yeah, I know.
And we don't want to.
We'll never know. No.
But Tomas, on a non-carrying a baby while, working out, talk about, how do you get from, being a player to now to this coaching role? Is there like a training, an internship? How does that go from one to the other?
Well, I'm trying to sign myself to be a bodyweight specialist for next year, gymnastics, because that's all I'm good for. So maybe I'll be on the roster next year. No, it's the story of how I got involved is also pretty funny with the brigade. The longer story on Jess's side with the ownership and the coaching piece, but Mather again reached out and he said, "Hey, long time no speak. What's your schedule like? Or do you have some free time?" I'm like, "Maybe, yeah. I don't own a gym anymore, so that's convenient. I have some extra time." And he said, "Well, the brigade are looking for a coach." And I said, "Oh, that's interesting." So he had Jess reach out, and Jess said, "Yeah, so are you interested in coaching?" I was like, "Maybe. What are we talking about?" So the really cool part about Grid, like I said, every second counts. So there's so much analytics that go into it, and that's like what I do for work too. So I really enjoy that part. Jess really, really enjoys that part. She has spreadsheets with times and
I don't know if I enjoy it, but the stress of not doing it makes me do it.
The certainty of doing it and putting it in play is what makes it easier. So I was like, yeah, I think that could be a lot of fun. It could be cool. So I said, I like my free time though. I'll just do like every other week or something like that. Like once or twice a month.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
I'll be there. Yep. And went to, I think we had one practice before the first match. They had been practicing for a while, but there was one left before the first match. Went to that, went to the first match in Orlando. And then that was, when was that first one? June?
July,
beginning of July. So from July until last weekend, I only missed one practice because I was out of town for work. So,
when you said that, I was like, sure, every other weekend, great. And then like I'm like, he'll get sucked in.
Literally every single Saturday. So it was it didn't take much convincing at that point. It was a pretty easy transition.
So yeah, that's what I was asking. You say easy transition as far as time, but when you go from like, I asked was there any kind of internship training? Obviously not. You were just kind of throwing right into the fire. Was that an easy transition itself, just taking over that role like overnight like that?
Yeah, I think there definitely wasn't any training or anything like that. I think the easy part of getting into the coaching of it was that I already had the background of being on the grid side. So doing the judging and the head reffing and like knowing all the things that they look for and how to optimize a match and little tweaks here and there. And I'm a smaller athlete, so I can't move weight as well. I can't do a bunch of this stuff. So I have to think about like, all right, I have to move efficiently to do well. So even my background as an athlete kind of helped in the coaching role of like, try this, do this a little differently. So yeah, no onboarding or anything like that, but from being on the grid side and then just from my athletic background, kind of made it a little easier.
Nice. So just one more question, I'll turn it back to Daniel. What I find interesting when I read through these notes and it talks about you, I mean, literally we're talking mom, owner, coach, player, how do you balance your life? Like, it seems like you got a lot going on.
I'm still trying to figure it out. It was, I'm not going to lie, even just being pregnant and kind of being, because I was not planning on being a coach this year and it just happened. And I was like going to lose my mind if I had to do everything myself. So thank God Moss came on board. Because we also have a kids grid team that I ran last year with another guy who owns another grid team. If I had to do that, thank God we didn't have to do that this year. I miss it, but I might have ran away. But as far as trying to balance everything, I'm still learning it. The adjustment of being a mom, I've learned my schedule is no longer mine, so I can plan as much as I want. And she could just shit herself, and then I have to change what I'm doing, or hey, I'm hungry again, or whatever. And that part is still an adjustment, but it's also forcing me to be better with time management that maybe I wasn't before. Like, I can go to the gym and take as long as I want. It doesn't matter because it's just me, or, I could. So it's, in a way it's good, but it's also crazy. But yeah, having done grid for so many years and having Moss there was just a very, very huge help, because I don't know what I would have done if I had to do all of that by myself. So long answer short, I'm still figuring it out.
So Tomas, I'll ask you. You get thrown into this coaching role. Obviously, the right person with the right background. Did the season as a whole, when you look at everything that you got into without being a coach previously in Grid, did it go as expected?
Yeah, I think it did. I had been away from Grid for a few years, so I didn't know some of the background of the team. And since I was reffing, I knew the Brigade at that time and some of the other teams. And then fast forward to this year, so I didn't really know like the changes and the evolution from there. Come to find out, hadn't made the playoffs in 3 years. All the like player transition, bunch of different things. One of the worst teams in the league from 7 years ago is now in the finals because they're one of the best teams. So there was a lot to catch up on. But from a team dynamic and players and like a cohesive group and all that, I think that at the end of the day, if you don't win the entire thing, then obviously you're going to be let down. Like everyone, teams 2 through 8, if you didn't win the whole thing, you're going to say the season wasn't a success. But taking the win part out of it and seeing the group come together, everyone have their backs. We have a group chat that literally hundreds of messages a day back and forth. From that standpoint, I think it was a huge success.
Yeah, it's always tough when you get, when, not that you're an outsider, but you're the new person coming into a group that's established. It's like, all right, well, how are they going to take me, especially now that I'm in this leadership role for the team? Are they going to listen? Are they going to, respect me? Or, what's the dynamic going to be? So when you say, we didn't win it all, which is disappointing, but like the success part was the fact that you were able to do it, prove to yourself that you could do it, but you guys were able to have some success along the way. Jess, was it harder not to coach or not to play?
Oh shit, not to play. Hands down, not to play. And it's funny because like going back to what you said before, when Moss joined, like it was, I don't know if you felt this way, Moss, but like it was a super easy transition. Like, and I think it has a lot to do with the players that we have. They were super accepting. It was like we didn't miss, and I tried really hard not to coach as much. Like I tried to like give him all the things to do, and there were times where I'm like, you have to stop me because I'm just going to keep doing it. But we did a huge overhaul of our team this year. There were a lot of players last year that I was like, we are not asking them back. We're not asking them back just because of several reasons, mainly like just drama and egos and stuff that I just didn't like the trajectory the team was going on as far as like that goes. So all the players that we had, they were just so accepting of Moss, and it made it so easy for him to just kind of hop in and take over. It was like he'd been there for years. But as far as me, yeah, it was, I didn't expect to be a coach. I was used to doing like the back end stuff, the sponsorship stuff, like owner type GM stuff, but like also I hate doing assignments, hate it. So when that was thrown on me, I was like, I don't want to do this. Cause Moss knows it is hard.
The hardest part.
That's a whole nother podcast. But for me, definitely the hardest part was not playing because not playing the whole season because I've been playing this is my 8th year. So it was very, very difficult for me to finally be like, I had to tell Moss, I'm like, Moss, should I stop at this point? Like, what's the cutoff point? Should I not? So it took me a lot to finally say, all right, I'm done. I'm 8 months pregnant. Maybe I shouldn't play on the grid. I don't know. But yeah.
What's crazy, like you asked how long she was working out and up until she had the baby. She still had, in the second match of the season, some better times on barbell movements than some of the other girls on the team. She's insanely fit. Yeah.
Did you
Daniel, because you know how much
Daniel, I started that week before, and I didn't really do anything. Jess gave me the piece of paper. She said, here are the assignments. Our matches next week. Go. I was like, okay, cool. It's all done. Awesome. And then literally after that second practice we had after the first match, everyone just took me in like part of the family. And I even said, thank you for being so welcoming. I'm just here to help. And yeah, so Jess made it pretty easy.
Nice. Jim, what were you gonna say?
I was saying you were talking about she's pissing people off. That would piss me off that somebody was 8 months pregnant showing out on me.
That's what Tomas. That's how he was so accepted. That was his motivation. He's like, "How are y'all letting this woman who's 8 months pregnant go around and throw the barbell around faster than y'all? I mean, she might as well be on this mirror race by herself."
I don't know about that, but
That was the one.
Yeah.
It was Mirror. She was still faster.
Oh, Tomas, obviously the regular season, the plan was to culminate at Mr. Olympia in Vegas. Obviously, for us in Tampa, the Hurricane had other plans. I know that some people were able to make it, and the league did a good job of kind of putting a Band-Aid and modifying the weekend to make it, the best that they could. But were you able to make it out to Vegas? Because I know a couple people were.
Unfortunately not. That was the most upsetting week leading up to that. Nobody from Tampa on the team ended up making it. We have 2 players that live outside of the state, one in North Carolina, one in Texas, and they were the only 2 from our team that ended up making it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at everything, like it just that whole week. Well, there was a 2-week period with both of those hurricanes. It was just craziness.
Daniel, we don't have hurricanes in Memphis. Come on back.
Yeah, but
They don't have them in Buffalo either.
Man, they got 2 feet of snow in Buffalo, though. We don't got that either.
I'm good.
We
good.
got crime. We got
here.
crime, though. We got plenty of crime, Daniel. Come on through.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good sell. Good sell. Hard no. Jess, obviously, we talk about the Hurricane having, throwing a wrench into the Vegas plans, but when you look back on just what the league was able to do, obviously from a production standpoint and just an overall structure standpoint, it's a huge undertaking and a kind of a huge, not disappointment or letdown when you can't run something like that the way that you envisioned it. But would you say that the whole Vegas event, was it a net positive for the team and for the league?
I mean, I don't know how they came up with the structure, but that was the most creative. I don't know how they came up with it. I really want to know like who came up with what part, and because having the super team and having the different points and like the primary and secondary matches, I don't know how closely you followed it, but that was the most genius thing they could have done because there was really no other option. You couldn't have some teams play and some teams not, because the players came together and the coaches and everything said like, hey, we want Vegas to count. We don't want to go to Vegas and just have it be like expedition or not count. There was no time after that to then make up all these matches. So, I mean, I give them a lot of friggin' credit. I don't know how they came up with it, but it was really cool. Obviously, we wanted our whole team there. So that part obviously sucked, but it like lit a fire under all of our asses. And we just could not wait to get to the makeup match and to playoffs and all that kind of thing. Because everybody kind of forgot about us. They knew we were like a rookie team, a bunch of new players, and they ranked us super low, like second or third last in the league. And they were like, oh, the Brigade, whatever. They have a bunch of rookies. They don't know. They've like written us off. So everybody was just that more pumped and hungry to get to that following the matches in November that we just had. So I think it helped us simply because we were just that much more hungry to get out there and show them like we're coming to play. So
I wondered that. Obviously, Tomas, Vegas comes and goes, net positive for the league, net positive the way that they were able to structure it, because what it did is it created regular season matches prior to the playoffs starting, the day before the playoffs started, that mattered. Obviously, you didn't have the Brigade didn't have to win the match. They just couldn't lose by more than 5 points. So obviously going in, the thought process is to win, but knowing that if you do win, it's possibly another 2 matches to win it all. Is there any like, hey, let's be reserved here. Let's hold a little bit back. Let's just make sure that we stay consistent. We finish the races and we won't lose by 5. Or was that not even a thought? Was it just, no, we're going to go out and fucking win. That's what we're going to do.
Like Jess said, the team wants to dominate. They want to win every single race. That's the mindset going into it, regardless of the standings or the situation. And frankly, there would be no convincing them otherwise. Like, they're going to give it their all. What it was interesting, like, because of the standings and the way the points work, if we had won by 7 points in that match, we would have jumped to first place in the overall standings. So there was a little incentive for us to actually dominate. We would have ended up in first place. We would have played a different team potentially in the playoff match. It might have ended up better for us, might have not. So that was kind of the incentive going into it, was we want to try to win by 7. The Palms put up a great match. It was really challenging, more than we probably thought it was going to be. But it was a lot of back and forth. And yeah, unfortunately, we did have to fight until the very end just to make it.
Well, I mean, so you make it though, and if you get to take on the Sharks, and really it was the last race that determined everything. And so, like, I think if you drew out a scenario where you're like, hey, I want us to have a chance to just leave it in our own hands, I think you did that. You gave your players a chance to go out there and win it. Obviously, you don't win, but that's part of it. At least you were right there with the chance, as opposed to the alternative of the last race don't mean anything. We can finish it or not. That's it. So having that incentive and just knowing what you guys went through to get there, I mean, I tip my hat to you guys, because that's hard to do, especially with a bunch of rookies, and especially with, new coach and trying to figure everything out. And, that's, credit to Jess, what you've been able to create, and Tomas, you being able to come in and do your role pretty effectively.
I mean, credit to the team too, honestly, because they're the ones that went out there and did all of it. And we had to play the match the day before. The Sharks didn't, so they were fresh. We had to prepare for 3 matches over the weekend if we had made it. They only had to prepare for 2. And the fact that we only lost to them by 1 race, I thought was pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely. Jess, you playoffs come, gone. The weekend ends with the Atlanta Wild winning it all. When you look back on it, did you watch any of the matches other than Brigade matches, and were you surprised that the Wild won it all?
I stayed for the next match. What did I stay for? Yeah, I stayed for the Aces and Lions match, and then I headed home. So I watched the championship match in my Jeep in the back seat next to my baby. I mean, the Aces, if you watch that match, that was a pretty tough loss on their end. I think they should have won. They lost on a technicality, so that made our loss hurt a little less. But yeah, that was a brutal way to lose. It was a subbing violation that they had, so they ended up with no points when they should have gotten 2 points, and they lost, I think, by 1 overall or something. So that for me kind of, I think the Aces should have moved on. But I mean, the Wild and the Sharks, it was a toss up. I mean, I think one team is more strong related or dominant, one's more gymnasty, and one might have some holes there. I didn't really care at that point.
Only one had my allegiance, and that's why they won.
What happened?
I picked the Wild before the playoffs started to win it all without knowing anything other than their team name and colors, and they won, so that's why they won.
Yeah, it was crazy to think that, because the Aces should have beat them if they didn't have a subbing. All they had to do was just say, hey, this person's in, and they beat them, and then the Wild don't go. That's crazy. That's crazy.
My team, I pledged to them. They win. That's how it goes. But I got to bring an important matter into this podcast, Daniel, because while this conversation was going on, I got brought into another podcast. I'm watching 3 guys. I'm reading the captions, so I don't have to sound. They got pulled in, Daniel, because of our old other co-host. And I got to ask y'all how y'all feel about this. He tagged me because he said green bean casserole is the most overrated Thanksgiving side dish, and it belongs nowhere but the trash. So, Jess, I'll start with you. Do you like green bean casserole?
I mean, yeah.
It's okay. Thank you. We can vibe. Tomas, where we at?
I am not going to put it in the trash. I do enjoy green bean casserole.
Okay, good. We can continue this podcast. Thanksgiving vibes. We got to know what's on the table.
I feel like when you go casserole, like you can modify a casserole to your exact specifications to what you like, because essentially a casserole is just anything, a bunch of shit thrown together. That's casserole. So like put what you like in there. If you don't like green beans, then fucking don't put green beans in there.
You know he's probably
That's a different casserole at that point.
Right.
But you know, it's
put
funny,
corn in there. Corn
he's a mac
casserole.
and
There
cheese
you go.
guy, but you can have mac and cheese all year. Like it's a dinner dish regularly. I want something that I only get at Thanksgiving.
True. All right. I feel you.
I'm sorry. I had to go on a tangent. I got drug in this. It literally was the topic they were talking about on their show.
The big question for both of y'all is obviously if the rumor is that the grid teams after Vegas had come and gone, they got a chance to partake in a little after party in Vegas and hang out. Is there any what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas stories that you've heard from just the rumor mill? I don't perpetuate rumors, but I will neither confirm nor deny them, but I like hearing them.
There were some pants that were exchanged and some people that did some stuff.
Wow. And you heard it here. People did some stuff.
Pants were shared in the club. I'll just tell you that much. Pants had to be shared in the club.
Oh, no. That's you can let your imagination run.
That was a great desk. Yeah.
Wherever you wanted to take it. All right, Jim, close this out, man, because I've heard it all. Pants are shared.
We were spilling the tea. We were sipping the tea. I'm trying to stay in Vegas. No, I'm just kidding. So, Jess, you were the commentary with Cassie Martinez during the Grid League playoffs. She asked you if you were coming back as a player, and you chuckled at the question. Also confirmed, you will be back. So, what do you have to do in order to get back? You've talked about it on here. Clearly, you're an elite competitor. You don't believe in finishing second, it seems like. So, how do you get back to where you were? After taking a temporary leave of absence.
I mean, I got to start now because the girls on my team are strong and fast and scary. So I gotta start. I got all their times though in my spreadsheet, so I can start looking at their stuff. But yeah, I gotta start now because I think we're talking about the league or the season being moved up a little bit. So yeah, 2025 starts now.
Yeah, I mean, and I love it, because that competitive edge. That's why I said I don't think you believe in becoming second. You're looking at that spreadsheet, and that's funny. Because you said it jokingly, but you're dead serious, and you're gonna compare and you're gonna compete. And all right, my time's not better than that. Time to go back to the lab. Got to put in more work. So I love it. Tomas, for you, what's the plan, man? You joked about being a body weight coach, I think you said. So what is on deck for you?
That part probably won't happen. We have too many guys that are really good. And what's cool with the sport too is we're getting a lot of inquiries. People want to be a part of it. People are seeing it and they're reaching out and they're excited to be a part of it too. So the team will be just fine without me participating. From a coaching standpoint, I mean, we haven't really talked about it, but I said when we were down in Fort Lauderdale, as long as Jess wants me back, I'll come back. And the
you don't have a choice at this point.
Not every other Saturday. Yeah, no, every other Saturday. You're all in.
All right, you heard it here first. Coaching 2025. When we were talking about it in Fort Lauderdale, the players were overwhelmingly supportive of me coming back. So that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, I think that's more.
I heard Jess put a survey out on you. She gave the players a survey on rate Tomas. So your evaluation score is probably coming in. You guys are gonna have a sit
You're
down.
gonna get that at 11:00 tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a one-on-one here soon.
Can we get the interim tag off Tomas? Can we do that? Let's do that.
There you go.
That's 2025.
This was his tryout.
It was a
Yeah.
test.
Yeah, he
It
did
was
all
a
right.
test.
So, Jess, we're obviously talking about you getting back in shape, but as far as your other responsibilities, off season, and you talked about the season, possibly moving up. So, what all do you got to get done? We obviously just addressed coaching, right? But player changes, the combine, all the different things. How much of that time is that going to take, and when is that all coming up?
I mean, the day after playoffs, the players were like, "When do we start? Can we start practicing again? Can we?" They're ready to start again already. But I think this year we're going to get a little bit more head start on that kind of stuff because we waited. Last year we ended in November again, but we had December off, and then we kind of started January, February. But by then, sponsors are already giving their money out for next year now. So I think we're going to start that stuff a little bit sooner, looking for sponsors. If anybody wants to sponsor our team, get your logo on our jersey. And also looking for maybe a GM to do some of that back end team owner stuff. So maybe I can be just a player again. I don't even know what that would be like, and I probably can't do it. Just be a player, and I'm still going to insert myself in places I shouldn't be. That's what she said. But yeah, I mean, if there's somebody out there that wants to take over the back end stuff, that would be fantastic. But I think we're going to start getting the head start on that stuff now. So combine will be.
I'm going to take care of two of those. Look, first, I will pay to get Daniel's face put on the uniform.
Somebody asked that before.
And then he can also take over some GM responsibilities. I'll put him out there. He needs something to do.
That'd be great. That would be great. He wants to do social media and sponsors and organizing combines and stuff. Great. You're hired.
Boom. All right, Daniel. I'm buying.
Let's talk.
I'm putting your face. We actually were going to sponsor an MMA fighter for the UFC who was on one time, but we said because the logo was on the shorts, the only way we would do it, we were like, we got to be on the crotch, and he was like, why? We're like, just because. We want. And we were trying to put our other co-host because we're throwing him under the bus. We were like, we want his face directly in the middle.
Oh.
And anyway, we couldn't get it done though. It's a shame.
That's all right.
We have had logos on our shorts before, and that used to be hey, do you want to get your logo on my ass? Sponsor me, and you can be on my shorts. That was a selling point for the players a few years ago. So maybe they'll bring it back.
There you go, Daniel. If it comes back, I got you right on the left butt cheek.
Let's go. I can't wait. I when I grew up, I was like, I can't wait to be on someone's ass. That's me all day. So there we go.
But the expansion of the league, Daniel last week, and I'm gonna throw him under the bus here. For anybody who might have missed me on the last episode, it's because Daniel had a booking malfunction and had his knees twisted.
I owned that on the show.
So I didn't get to talk to Sophia Davenport and talk Houston, but obviously there's expansion. Tomas, talking about that, and I know that it's not the goal is to not stop there, right? So how exciting is it? Expansion, the idea, not just Houston, but more teams coming in.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, with Houston joining, that puts us at 9. We have to have an even number, so we're guaranteed 10 for next year. Who that other team is and what it looks like, we're not exactly sure yet. We'll probably find out in the next few weeks or so. I think they're moving pretty quick.
So there's a strong network of CrossFitters in Memphis. And once again, Daniel, come back to Memphis and get that 10th team. I'm going to keep pushing for this until I get what I want.
I don't think he can.
If they want to,
I don't think he can be a GM of one team and own another one.
That might be.
Hey,
whoa! That's not true because there was a head referee that was the coach of a team. So
that seems conflicting.
I mean, seems like the rules are a little bit flexible here.
You got to check the tape. I don't recall.
Look, all I know is I'm ready to see, Tomas get the interim tag off, be the coach. I'm ready to see Jess making people mad because she had a baby, took time off, and then came back and still beating their ass. You know what? I might, I got my championship out of the Wild, Daniel. I might just flip on over to Tampa. You know what I mean?
Come on over, man.
How about you move here and you can you can go to every match and you can support the brigade. We will even get you
as long as I don't have to participate and actually do cardiovascular activities, Daniel.
We will even get you the women uniform.
The last Grid League
women's uniform.
The last Grid League episode, I got called a bro dude because I just lift weights and don't do cardio. So I'm pretty offended still, Daniel. I kind of took it on the chin and didn't say nothing in real time, but now that a week has passed, it still hurts.
I mean, you kind of are.
I don't want to go to y'all's Grid League games and be made fun of. I don't want to be that guy.
You
the good thing is you would fit right in because there are a couple of guys on our team that probably feel the same way.
There we go. I'm glad.
They just want to lift.
We'll have a therapy session together. But now, last question, and I'm gonna let Daniel put y'all on the hot seat with a hypothetical question. Everything we've talked about, Jess. For expectations for both of y'all next season, what's the message to the team? Like, you got the talent to win it all. Like, how do you get them knowing that this can be achieved?
I mean, I think they already know it. They're not new anymore. We don't have to teach them as much anymore. So now all they got to do is just take what they've learned, and they're already hungry enough. So the only downfall is now the league knows that we're here. So we can't surprise anybody as much anymore. But I think they're already practicing stuff. They're still sending videos in our group chat. That last year, nobody could give a shit. And it was like, did we even have a season? Like, it's such night and day difference. And the fact that they're still like, we're having like a team Christmas bonding thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not stopping. We're not stopping. We're only going to get better. And we're just got steam rolling this thing, man. Like, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And we're going to be a really big contender for that whole entire thing. We've won it before twice. We're going to do it again. So
what you're saying is 2025 Grid League champion, Tampa Bay Brigade, 2025, 2025 MVP. You, right?
All right.
I'm saying my team's going to win.
You didn't say that.
Okay. I'm just throwing motivation out there for you. Not that you need it. I'm just giving you a little extra.
I'll maintain I'll keep my Burpee Queen title. That'll make me happy. I'm undefeated in my ringer points, so I'll keep that.
There you
Daniel,
go.
I'm going to stay off social media during our podcast. This has never been a problem before, but this is twice now. I'm going to break it. So first we had another podcast. Now we got our wives talking about how dare I call them nerds for their Christmas decorations when we sit on a podcast and talk to athletes. I don't like the shade being thrown by your wife.
I mean, she says that stuff to my face.
So does mine.
I'd rather her say it on social media and I may not read it. And
my wife bought the abominable snowman from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer thing. Anyway, it's literally twice as tall as her and massive. Got it from Lowe's half off because it was the floor model and they were sold out. And so she talked him into selling it and had him break it all apart. But she's got it up in the front yard and she was so giddy. And I was like, you're such a nerd. And then Michelle's like, why are we nerds for liking to decorate Christmas? Y'all sit around and talk about sports on a podcast. So it's war officially.
Hey, bro. If Tomas, Jess, if y'all want to see a holiday spectacular, drive by my house and you'll see it's a wonderland out here. That's all I can say.
Do you have like the music to the beat of stuff when you drive by?
We don't have that, but we do have like the front of my house is like projection mapped, so like it has like video and like it's like a big thing, and then there's lights all around the house. So it takes 2 months to set up and 2 years to take down, and drives me crazy trying to figure out where I'm going to put everything.
But I bet Jess could beat you because she seems like a competitor. If you challenged her house would be yours.
I mean, I'm sure there's not a single thing that requires movement that Jess couldn't beat me at. So I've seen her. I've seen her out there. She's stronger than me. She's faster than me. She's more gymnasty than me. Like,
look, because I'm not going to have to compete against her, I'll just come on here and say she's not stronger than me, okay?
She is right now with your tore pec.
Man,
that's true. I'm a fan of bench press. I am a huge fan of bench press. So
I just built the deck, Daniel, with one arm.
I bet pound for pound she's as strong as you.
Well, that's easy right now. You should have got me pound for pound before I put on 30. That's not fair.
Well, that's not fair. Hey man, when I'm at my best,
I was actually stronger when I weighed less. Man, you caught me at the worst time, the heaviest I am in my life.
my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Maybe.
man, beat up on me while I'm down. Anyway,
I'll just get pregnant again and put on 30 pounds, and then it'll be.
Here's why I will send her the bench video.
Pregnant. I mean,
Hey,
pound for pound. I mean, I think that's pretty
Daniel,
equal.
here's why I will send her the bench videos, because I get tired of seeing all these videos of everybody doing incorrect form. I want her to watch it just to see that I put on heavy weight and actually do it right.
Hey, I've gotten those. I completely understand what you're saying, because I cannot stand the 2-inch. Oh, I benched 200. Now you only moved to 2 inches. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
I actually saw a epic video the other day of a guy making fun of them, and he had like 8 plates on each side for the squat, and he like barely went down and put it back up, and then like was all psyched out. His buddies were like cheering and everything, and he was making fun of the people. It was pretty good.
All right, guys. Before you bounce, we always like to have a little fun and give you a little hypothetical to kind of think about and just kind of see, where you're thinking, where your head's at. So I'll give you the scenario, and then we'll go through how you guys would handle it. So you find a book, you start reading a book, and you find out you get in 100 pages, 150 pages, and 200 pages in, you're like, holy shit, this is the book of my life. All right. You're like, everything is the same from birth all the way up to present day. You get to present day and you're on the podcast with us doing your thing. And then you have this dilemma. Do you continue to read the book to see how your life ends, or do you stop reading? Do you throw it away? Do you burn it? Or you have the self-control to just hold on? Like, what do you do?
I have a follow-up question. I have 2 follow-up questions.
I have a couple of my own. This is like a choose your own adventure based on how you answer. So, Tomas, I'll start with you, man. You come across
just need some time to analyze it clearly. She's gonna make a spreadsheet while I'm answering.
Yes.
I feel like it's a pretty easy answer. Immediately, top of my mind, I said, nope, I'm not going to read it. I would want to live it out and not be spoiled with the outcome.
Okay. Do you have it in you? Do you have the self-control to just like put it on a bookshelf and like let it sit, or do you have to like literally like the book from your house and like bury it or burn it?
Too tempting. Especially if like something bad happens, then I would want to go back and like, all right, what's going to happen? So I would have to get rid of it.
All right. Jess, what about you? What are your questions?
My first question is why did it take me 200 pages to realize this is my life?
Well, hey, maybe you realize it the very first.
All right. The second question: if I read it, can I change it?
Nope. It's your life. I'm not changing it.
Yeah, I'm not reading it.
No.
And I'm burning it.
All right.
I'm burning it.
That's what I said. So there's no way I can't not read it.
Here's the follow-up, Jess, and I'll start with you this time. Let's say you get to present day and there's only 2 pages left. What do you do?
Does that mean I die really soon after?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the question. Am I reading?
Yeah. Then do you read it?
No. You can't ask Moss first?
Oh, I didn't. I thought you had a column in your spreadsheet for this. I'm sorry.
Let me flip it. No. I can't. No, because it's either going to ruin the last 2 days of my life or, burn it.
Tomas, what are you doing? You sticking to your guns?
I would also burn it. I wouldn't go back on it, but I might live the next week a little differently.
Yeah.
I think that's the right answer is you just say, all right, well, I'm going to live life to the fullest. And this might be it, or that might be
Quit
it.
your job. Go.
What is it? A real Office Space moment. where you're just like, F you,
Mhm.
you're cool, I'm out.
That's
Burn
not
it to the
Office
ground.
Space.
Well, what movie is it?
The one with
Billy Madison.
no, it's the smoking weed one, Daniel, with Dave Chappelle. It's his buddy. Dadgummit.
All right, clearly I don't know, and neither do you. So
Yes,
I
I do.
could be right. I could be right. All right, before y'all bounce, anything, Tomas, I'll start with you. Anything you want to plug or promote?
No,
Hold on, gotta cut you off. It's half baked. Exactly.
Half baked. I just
Oh,
googled it. Half baked.
There you go, half baked.
Daniel is a drug-free guy quoting a drug movie. Go figure.
Hey,
That's where you went wrong. Quit trying to be hip and cool, Daniel.
because I watched Half Baked. All right, Tomas, plug or promote.
So if Jim, if you ever come to the Tampa area, come to CrossFit Hyde Park. You can drop in there, get a workout in, or just lift weights and not work out. That's perfectly fine too. I coach there Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have a full-time job during the day, but that's no fun to talk about or plug anything from. So I would just say stay tuned for 2025 Grid and watch the Brigade.
I mean, at some point, I got to start doing exercise because I got to spar with a top 10 Bellator fighter. And I really want to do that. And I want to go in there and actually not look bad. So, Daniel, at some point, I'm going to have to partake in workouts that aren't.
You could practice.
Dude, I'm going to knock his ass out. I'm telling you.
Not a chance.
Yes. Because he told me he made the mistake of saying this is just a photo op, right? You're not going to we're not going to really try. He's going in thinking I'm not going to try, and I'm going to catch him sleeping.
You better hope you do, because if you don't,
I was already told this. I was told that if I did that and I don't get him, I'm going to pay. I'm well aware, but I'm telling you, I'm going to one-hitter quitter this dude.
That's a ballsy move, man. You better get that pec looked at first.
The other arm.
I saw Spaghetti Joe.
I think what
with
the worst
the same
part
bar
is
you couldn't pick up.
I think what the worst part is when you talk about sparring with MMA fighters, like typically when you outweigh a guy, because even if I shred it down, he's still like 185, I'd be like 215. So I still have a weight on him. You would normally think you would want to take a guy like that to the ground, but he obviously knows everything to do with Muay Thai and all that on the ground, or not what am I looking for? Jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Anyway, that's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not going to work if you go throw hands with him.
Yes, it is.
I can't wait for this.
Daniel, I went to Barlow's today. I relived when I got in a fight in the middle of the street with you there.
Bro, this ain't Jacob Shackelford wearing cowboy boots. This is a fucking fighter.
I'm glad, too. I don't got to worry about getting maced by the sheriff's county deputy, whatever.
All right, we got to move on. This is nonsense.
I would watch that.
I would too. I will watch that.
And Daniel, I still have people say, you're that guy who got in a fight in the middle of the road. I love it. I jumped out of a moving vehicle, guys, to fight this guy because he was kicking my truck in the street, and the whole school was there.
Wow.
Living my glory days, Daniel.
I hope you're proud.
I am. I've never even told my kids. Maybe I should.
They would be so. They would be like, when you die, that's what they're going to talk about. How proud their proudest moment of their dad. All right, Jess. Anyway, nonsense over. Plug or promote. What you got?
Oh, I do have a job that I can promote. If you need a nutrition coach, I own my own company. I used to be a high school teacher. Fun fact, quit that nonsense and then started my own business. So that's what I do full time. So if you know anybody that needs a coach, holler at me. And then, or also if you want a fitness, come to Across the Big Guava, because that's where I am. And I won't make you do a lot of cardio, but
Daniel was a high school teacher and a middle school principal.
Middle school, man. I was told to avoid that at all costs.
It's something new. It's something different every day. I'm no longer in that game, but it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to let you bounce. I appreciate y'all joining us. As always, if there's anything we can do for you along the way, please reach out to us. We'd love to have you back on. Maybe once you guys get set with the roster, we can bring you back on and kind of talk about what the team looks like and what the expectations are.
Definitely. Yep.
Sounds good. But love it. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. That is Tomas and Jess with the Tampa Bay Brigade. If you like hearing their story or you just like hearing us average Joes talk X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook. Retweet us on X, listen and subscribe wherever you stream your podcast. As always, comments, ratings, feedback, thumbs up, hearts, hugs, love. We will take it all. Jim, we still got LSU baseball coming up or what?
That's next week, but we're going to talk to Jeffrey Wright.
Oh, yeah.
ESPN
Right.
Memphis. And what a time, because we get to talk about Memphis beating number 2 UConn in the Maui Classic.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to talk to Jeffrey Wright. He's got a lot to tell me as far as the ins and outs being, in sports media in Memphis. Like, I got so many questions. But anyhow, this has been the In Off the Bench podcast. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are out.